It has been proven over and over again that the best way of cutting the cost of production is through cutting the cost of the feeds by buying ingredients in bulk. But most of the times, many farmers are not able to buy these ingredients in bulk, and that is why in this video I want us to pursue another way to decrease the cost of feeds. I will share with you the best organic feed ingredient alternatives that can be used to replace maize and soybeans so as to help cut the cost of production and bring your profits up. The two major ingredients used to make commercial poultry feeds are maize and soybeans, and due to the competition for these ingredients with humans and other animals, they are very costly, which makes chicken feed also very costly. Therefore, the organic alternatives that I'm going to share with you today are going to help you to substitute the maize and also the soybeans, therefore helping to bring down the cost of making your own feeds at the farm. But before we get into this video, kindly, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and also hit that bell notification so that every time that I post another educative video, YouTube will alert you. Also, make sure to hit that like button and also the share button, because they help this video to be shown to more farmers so that they can be able to get this important information. You can also tell us where you are watching us from and leave your suggestions and questions in the comment section below. First, let me discuss the organic ingredients that can be used to replace the maize. And the first one is sorghum. Sorghum contains 90 to 95% of the nutrients that are also contained in the maize. And it has been found out that sorghum can be used in the chicken feeds to replace 70 to 100% of the maize. But first things first, you must be able to treat this sorghum, because sorghum contains anti-nutrient that is called tannin. And especially the black species of sorghum, they contain more tannin than the white varieties, and therefore it is advisable that you go for the white varieties as a substitute for the maize. Or if you're going to use these varieties, the varieties of sorghum that contain more tannin, then you must soak them in water or soak them in alkali solutions, which will help to remove these tannins which have negative effects on the chicken. The good thing about sorghum is that it is cheap. It is not like maize, which have high competition between humans and also the animals. The second replacement of maize is the pearl millet. The pearl millet also have the similar nutritional value as maize. It contains 12 to 14% crude protein, and also it contains about 2800 to 2900 kilocalories. That is the metabolizable energy. It has been found out that pearl millet can be used to replace maize up to 50%, and in the total poultry feeds, the pearl millet inclusion rate should not exceed 30%. Pearl millet also contains some anti-nutrients, and it is therefore advisable that you use heat treatment to eliminate these anti-nutrients. For example, through cooking. Also, another way is soaking them in water overnight, and also using supplements like phytase enzymes. And if you check on the cost of using the enzymes like phytase enzymes, it cannot compare with the cost of, using maize. The third ingredient that can be used to replace maize is the wheat bran and the maize bran. These two kind of brans are byproduct of maize and wheat milling, and therefore they are very cheap to acquire compared to wheat or the maize. The nutritional value in terms of the crude protein is almost the same to that of the maize, but when you look at the metabolizable energy of these brans, it is very low, and this is due to the high fiber content. Therefore, when you use the wheat or the maize bran, it is good that you supplement your chickens with enzymes like xylanase and cellulase. And when you use these enzymes, you can be able to use 50% of the maize bran to replace maize. But for the wheat bran, you can only include up to 8% into the chicken's diet. The other ingredient that can be used to replace maize is the rice. Rice has slightly less crude protein compared to maize. It contains 7 to 8% and maize contains 11%. But rice has almost similar metabolizable energy as maize, that is about 3,000 kilocalories. And if you're going to use this rice to replace maize, you can use 6% of the rice in broiler feeds and 12% in layers as a substitute to maize, and this will help to cut the cost of production. Now let us get into the replacement for soybean, and the first ingredient that you can use is the canola meal. Canola meal is a byproduct of vegetable oil production, and it is way cheaper compared to soybean meal. When extruded, that is when it is heated during oil production or fermented or through fermentation, it can be used up to 10% in the poultry feeds. It is very rich with sulfur amino acids, but it has very low levels of lysine. But this is not a big problem because lysine should and is always added into the feeds as a source of amino acids, because it is very useful to the layers and also the broilers for their growth and production. The second ingredient that we can use to replace soybean meal is the blood meal. Blood meal is a product of blood from animals that have been slaughtered in the slaughterhouse, which is processed and dried and packed for use as an ingredient in the poultry feeds. It is very, very rich in protein, containing about 65 to 85% crude protein, and it contains amino acid like lysine, methionine, and others that are very essential for the chickens. It can be used up to 3%. It might sound like a small, proportion, but if you look at its nutritional value, it has very high crude protein, and even a small addition like 3% is going to have a very big impact into helping achieve the required crude protein for your chickens. The third ingredient that can be used to replace soybean meal is the palm kernel cake. The palm kernel cake is a byproduct of palm oil production, and it can be included into the poultry diets by up to 15%, but this is only if you are going to add it into the feeds with enzymes that are going to help to break down its high fiber content. And these enzymes, we have said, they are like xylanase and cellulase, and nowadays they are easily accessible, and you can add them into the feeds to help cut the cost of production. The last ingredient that can be used to replace soybean meal is the groundnut meal. The groundnut meal is a byproduct of production of groundnut or peanut products, therefore making it cheaper than the soybean meal. Groundnut meal contains high crude protein of about 38 to 40% and an energy of up to 2,900 kilocalories. The amount that you can replace soybean meal with is 3 to 4% of this groundnut meal. One of the negative things is that the groundnut meal is very prone to aflatoxins, and therefore it is good to use anti-aflatoxins if you are going to use this groundnut as a replacement for the soybean meal. To know the types of anti-aflatoxins that will help to prevent these molds growing in your chicken's feed, you can click the video that should pop up on your right hand side of the screen. Click the video that is on your screen right now to know how to make your own broiler feeds on the farm.